Ultimate Demon and DemonDemon.com.
Squidgy here, DemonDemon.com. Brief history. 2003 to 2009. For those of you that weren't around, many people used the link ring as a way of promoting their site. I've not put in all the arrows here because it just looks too much of a jumble, but each of these blue boxes should have an arrow going into the red box in the middle. So the link ring was, I'll create a dozen, 15 links, whatever you want, and they will both have at least 2 outbound links, one to my money site and one to the next link in the chain. What that means is whenever a search engine bot, Yahoo, Google, Bing, comes along and finds one, it will very quickly discover all of them by following the links and see multiple links to my money site. Now, it doesn't take a genius to work out that that's very focused, and that it wouldn't take long for anybody with half a brain to calculate how to work the algorithm at Google or Bing to see which site was benefiting, and to see that this is very, very focused self-promotion. And Google and Bing in particular, Yahoo a little bit less so, don't like self-promotion. 2009 to 2013, we sort of forgot that Google follow link trails, and we developed, in this case it's the tree because the money site's at the bottom and the branch going up, but if you just reverse this and put the money site at the top and then go down, it's a pyramid. It's exactly the same structure, just depends how you visualize it. Still provide an easily traceable route to your money site, albeit vertically rather than centripetally. So the problem with this as well is first tier probably needs to have 5 or 6, every first tier node needs to have 5 or 6 second tier nodes at least, and every second tier node needs to have, I don't know, 10, 20 third tier, or what I call the indexing tier nodes linking to it. So exponentially it increases, and you're creating often tens of thousands of links on a third tier, which I haven't shown here. So what we've done from here to here is actually increase the amount of links you need to create, and that's directly down to the sort of automation tools that people were using, particularly the two in particular were Scrapebox and Zrummer, which before they both diversified and allowed you to create a wider range of links as they have done in sort of the last 18 months. When they first came out, Zrummer was a forum profile spamming tool, and Scrapebox allowed you to was a blog comment spamming tool. And I say spamming tool because if you're sending 100,000 links out, you're spamming. And that's the sort of scale people were doing it on. And you know, I had Zrummer back in 2011. I think I turned my last Zrummer off. No, it's early 2012, and that could create 250,000 links a day on a relatively small server, very little problem. And that certainly is spamming. But this structure encouraged it because this third tier needed tens, if not hundreds of thousands of links, because it was a trickle-down effect. But it also was very, very focused. It didn't take long for Google to follow the link trail again. Admittedly, it had to find these one at a time, but over a period of time it would follow the link trail again and find it. So it might just find this one, oh that leads there, that leads, oh, and it'd find one over here. But after a period of time it would build up the same picture and see how focused it all was on the money site. Obvious self-promotion. Traditional link structures have 3 huge problems. They're obviously made for self-promotion. Google does not like aggressive self-promotion. Little caveat here, Google absolutely has no issue with normal marketing and sales promotion. Sensible distribution, syndication of your work, even things like curation, as long as it's kept moderate. Where people say a system fails is often where it's abused. You see somebody say curation doesn't work. Well, if you've built a whole site with 30,000 posts and every one of them is curated post, no, it probably doesn't. People say syndication doesn't work. Well, if you syndicate the same piece of content to 1,000 sites rather than 10 or 20 sites, no, it probably doesn't. It's a matter of scale. So there aren't these black and white answers. Syndication works, syndication doesn't. Cocitation works, cocitation doesn't. Curation works, curation doesn't. They're all about scale. And people always want to take it to the nth degree, push the envelope. And Google doesn't like you pushing the envelope. Neither does Bing in particular. They don't like you pushing the envelope. So why not just stay inside the bounds? Because whenever you push the envelope, you're risking. You're taking a risk. They're easy to spot for Google's bots. Follow the links. They did in 2009 with link rings. They're now doing it again with traditional link trees or pyramids. Since Penguin 2.1, it's been acutely obvious that that's what they're doing. I've sort of been doing what I'm going to show you in a moment since May 2012, although I'd be a smart ass if I said I completely moved to it. I just did it as a little experiment, but I found it's worked, and the sites I did what I'm going to show you in a moment, the new method I'll show you in a moment, remain absolutely untouched. I also have confidence in the new method. This sort of linking offers little or no value to the reader. 99% of the links you produce are there purely to index other links. You don't care about the content. I've certainly espoused the value that you shouldn't care about your second or third tier content much, and that you're going to need gazillions of them. I mean, literally, I don't know, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. And while you should care about your content a little less the further away it gets from your website, junk isn't really going to help anymore, especially now Google's playing follow the link. Problem as well, the last problem, which is a real issue, if you look at the traffic stats of a good site, and my site, I wouldn't say my site is good, but I get barely 50% of my traffic from all the search engines combined. About 48% of the traffic comes click-through from my first tier. Better, 60% of my buying traffic comes from click-through from my first tier. So somebody goes to my first tier site, they click through, they're the people that end up buying. I find my search engine traffic actually converts to sales a little bit worse than my click through. I can think of reasons for this. It's because somebody who's coming through my first tier has shown twice they're already interested in the product. They've shown when they've clicked on the first tier link, and they've shown a second time when they've clicked on the link from that first tier to my money site. So they are sort of a double opt-in interest in whatever my product, service, information is. So it does provide like a 15 or 20% better against search engine traffic, raw search engine traffic benefit, and you know, so it's better. So most of my purchases come from people outside of Google. Quite important to note that. So click-through is vital, and if you want your profiles to last, click-through is vital as well. Let's have a look at what we're looking at now, and this is going to take a little bit of explaining. This is the link mesh or powered node linking solution, and there are a couple of things to look at here. First of all, it's based on a profile, not a link, not a site, not a page, not an individual URL, but a profile. So you create a profile on WordPress.com or on Tumblr, on Soup, or on your own blog hosted on a different host, or even an article site. Some people have got it in for article sites. Again, if you spam them, they'll fail. If you use them sensibly in a wide mix, they work just fine. Or wiki site, or even some of the microblog or bookmark sites allow you to put a couple of hundred words of content. Reddit's very good. Reddit is a bookmarking site, but you can put hundreds of words of content in there, not just sort of the 30 words that most people use it for. So there's a whole range of sites you can build up profiles on here. And what a profile is, you create an account with an email address, you put up your user bio, all the usual stuff, but you post to it many times. Most of your posts are not self-serving. That's rule number one. Secondly, you make strong and frequent use of Cocitation. Now these two columns here, these represent non-competing broad niche site. I'm going to use the dog training niche again because everybody seems to use it. Imagine you have a dog training site. What you don't necessarily want to do is to link out to a competitor with another dog training site, because you might lose your traffic. But what you do want to do is find a list of sites with complementary things in your niche. So it might be dog breeding, dog shows, dog food, dog hygiene, puppy farm. I don't know what else you want to do. The whole dog thing over here. So non-competing, but in your broad niche. It might just be pet sites. Also, you want authority site links. So when there's a story about dogs on the BBC, on CNN, a sports story with dogs in it, on a major sports site, whatever, you also want to link out to those. 3/4, if not 7/8 of your links that you create on this profile as you constantly add content over time does not link to you. You may send 2 or 3 pieces of content in a row to these that don't link to you at all, but they do link out to all these others. This does 2 very important things. Firstly, it adds value to your readership. You're only sending out decent content that you're curating, that is syndication, occasionally unique content that you send out to more than one site with perhaps a opening paragraph that's slightly different. But again, you're not spamming, and it's good readable content every time, up to date, etc. but you're linking out to here, so your reader's getting it, and if they need to see citation, they can see it. Here's the example. I bet all of you have been on Wiki and seen those bars they have at the top of Wiki pages that say you haven't sourced the right references here, you haven't given us citation, questionable source, citation required, and all of those, because Wiki knows how vital it is. If you're going to state something as fact, it likes to know where you got your information from. Exactly the same with Google, although Google doesn't tell you outright to your face by actually going in and editing your posts, going onto your blog, goes, where's your citation for this? Why are you just claiming that's true? But if you're just stating fact after fact without linking anywhere to sort of add more meat to the bones, you're not doing very well. So co-citation, outbound linking to authority sites or other sites in your niche will actually add value. Will not doing it detracts from your content, and doing it adds value both for your readers and for Google. But the other important thing, of course, is Google really can't play follow the link, because you'll come to a page and most of the page you put up don't even have a link to your site. Some do, but on them are 3 or 4 links to other sites. So who is it? Who is the benefit? Is it one of these sites? Is it one of these? Is it you? Who is benefiting? Very hard. But I don't think Google would try, because what you're actually doing is creating a much better user experience, which plays into your hands, into Google's hands, and to your visitors' hands. So I don't think Google will want to play follow the link anyway, because it's saying, you know what, this is a decent piece of content, it's better written than we're used to, it's citing its sources more readily, it's less selfish, it's not as aggressively self-promotional. This is good. It's not in our interest to actually look for ways to destroy people's sites like this. This is what we want. The quicker among you will have noticed perhaps this arrow here and this arrow here, which show we're getting some links from these sites. Yes, this is a PowerPoint. So you're actually getting links from these sites. Now, at the moment, the main link creation tools and methods don't really link into these particularly well. So I'm using something called Buzz Bundle. So I'm using SE Nuke and Ultimate Daemon to do this and to promote often, because SE Nuke, Ultimate Daemon in particular are the two that absolutely let you control this side of it perfectly. They've got the timing, they've got the content control, they've got the ability to control profiles rather than just create links, to add images and videos, and when you stick in your Content Machine with it, Content Machine allows you to use your own content. Content Machine is an excellent syndication system. It allows you to mix your content, like a first paragraph, with other people's content underneath, and use syndication and curation in an automated fashion. I'll come back to automated in a minute. So you've got these non-competing broad niche sites, and some of those need to link to you as well. So I'm using Buzz Bundle to add that little percentage of links there. So many benefits for doing it this way. Association with authority sites and those offering complementary products or services has been shown to provide service value for your link profiles, your readers, and yourself. Co-citation means unselfish linking, and Google really likes unselfish. It's very hard for bots or spiders to follow a trail and see self-promotion. How can it? Most of the things you put up there won't even have a link to you. As long as you automate, you can put up, and you have enough content sources, and you link yourself to the, you have tools which will find the conversations that are going on, and you have quick and efficient ways of turning those conversations into content that you can use. And later down this post I'll show you how you can do that very, very quickly. The bots or spiders won't be able to follow a link to you, and as I said previously a couple of minutes ago, it's not even in their interest to. You're providing quality in your niche. You're showing yourself as an authority, and I just don't think Google will be looking to penalise you. If anything, it'll be looking to reward you, and I can't see that changing. So this is a long-term, what I'm saying is this is a method which takes a little bit more time to set up, 20 to 30% more time to get your content sorted out perhaps, but it's there for the long haul. You're providing value, click through what Google wants, what your visitors want. I know I've said that enough. It creates opportunities for relationships with others in your broad niche, because you're linking out to them from quality content, sending them traffic. If you then go to them at some point and go, you could even be upfront and say, you know what, I've just looked at my stats and I've sent you 300 visitors in the last month. And then if you've got a decent website owner, they might go, yeah, you know what, you really have. Thanks, mate. You build up a relationship. When you start to comment on their blogs, they know you, they accept your comment. They don't mind you putting a comment with a link embedded in the comment rather than just using your name as anchor text. You know, if I put Scritty and Scritty links back to demondemon.com at the top as name, Google knows what that is. However, if I have a 200-word piece I've written with an actual link to my content within that piece, 20 times the value. In fact, even more than that, because too many of those gritty linking back to demondemon.com links that are just using my name could work against me, because they're one of the signals of negative SEO, unfortunately, if there are too many of them. Again, it's a matter of scale. But inside the body of an article that's been accepted on a site that moderates, quite importantly, if you put it on an AA site and it's got 30,000 other outbound links, not so good. If it's on a site that only allows a couple of dozen links per decent piece of content, and the guy moderates them and he doesn't allow too many people to outbound link and he moderates spam, that is really powerful if it's in your broad niche. So it creates these opportunities for relationships with others in your broad niche. And you can be upfront and say, and send them an email and say, you know what, I've sent you a lot of traffic recently. Good to know you. My name is so and so, and just introduce yourself, or however you want to do it. Visitors to your profile will get more value. In the long term, this will translate to better results and return visitors from which you will benefit. So that is, once you get better value, you'll get click through. You get people saying, yeah, this is interesting, I will click on this link. Now, you will lose some visitors who click sideways and don't come back. I would say, great, don't worry about that. You're not those people that get easily. You want to get people to open their pockets. If you're selling a product and that product's more than $20 or $30, you want somebody to come to your thing, be interested in it enough to open their wallets, type in their credit card details. If they're the sort of window shopper that's just going to get distracted by a tweet button or a link to a site with some more waffle on it, they're probably not your buying traffic anyway. Yes, you will lose a little bit, but the long-term gains far outweigh the short-term benefit of this. So don't be scared about Cocitation losing traffic through your funnel, because the other way of looking at it, up until now, you didn't give a monkeys about traffic through your tunnel. You only created a first tier for its search engine ranking benefit. Now you are getting click-through, non-selfish click-through, long-lasting click-through. Think of the long-term benefit of it. You still have complete control over your profiles, what you post, when you post, and what it links to. Which I mean is, while you can't use social media particularly well to do really detailed information about a new product you've done, a new update you've done to your website, a total refresh of your website, some other event that's going on, it's very hard to promote that individually through social media. You have to go to every site individually, write a decent length piece, and then hope that they allow it to be published as a comment or whatever. It might be days, you might miss your window of opportunity. You still have that absolute control over your first tier, and your first tier contains perhaps 15 or 20 of these. It may duplicate several of these in both. It may use several of the same sites, because you need to come up with a list of your competing broad niche sites and the authority sites you're going to look at daily to see whether they're on topic for you. But you're going to have more than one of these. This is just one node. You reduce the likelihood of spammy looking profiles getting deleted by the site owners. WordPress.com delete 1.4 million sites that they host per year, which is about 120,000 a month, or about 3,000 a day they delete. These are the one post wonders that just, please come and buy my slimming product, blah blah blah, it's great, it helps me slim, it weight loss, blah blah blah, paleo diet, gibberish, buy here, and they just delete them. And they also delete ones that put post after post that links to the same domain, regardless that you may change URL. If you keep promoting the same domain, at some point WordPress do delete quite a few of them. And that isn't a problem with Google. Google are probably fine with these post by post. You actually get deleted by the site owners. So this isn't a case of promoting your site through Google or having problem with your visitors. It's a case of the people that own WordPress or own Tumblr or own Blogger, which is Google of course, or Soup or IO or whoever else you're using, getting sick of you spamming and deleting your profile anyway, sending you one of those notices saying it looks like you're a spammer, we've deleted, count close, and if you want to, you can complain to our department, and you never get it back. The net result is you create fewer links, they're higher quality, and you get better results in the long term. This is going on a page on demondemon.com rather than a post, because it's going to be added to until it's got the whole tutorial of how I do it. And although it's going to be focused on using one tool, which will be Ultimate Demon, this isn't by any means just the promotion of Ultimate Demon. You can absolutely do this with SE Nuke. You can do it with Lycorn, I believe, reasonably well as well. There's a couple of tools which really need some features adding before the absolute control of link placement, timing, and all the rest. They need to tighten up on that before I'd recommend them for use on this, but they've all got the potential to. Don't be scared about automation either. The man who undoes a bolt with his bare hands when there is a wrench by the side has just got sore hands and took 10 times as long. It doesn't benefit. The bolt's still undone, the job's still complete. It's not about whether you automate. It's not about feeling as if you've whipped yourself or sackcloth and ashes by spending a day making 10 links when you could have spent an hour making them. That's not the point. It's about the quality, it's about the result, it's about the ends justify the means. And with link building, the ends always justify the means. Google has no idea whether you used a bot or a tool or automation whatsoever. It couldn't possibly do. Secondly, if the quality of the content is the same, why would it care anyway? It's about the quality, not the method. So I know there are those evangelists that the minute you talk about automation, they stick their hands over their eyes, block their ears and shout not listening. But you've got a business to run, you've got multiple websites to create, you've got more customers to engage with. You just haven't got the time to be spending 3 of your 6 days you work a week creating links. You need to be creating content and engaging with your customers on a one-on-one basis on your site. Off-site SEO needs to be 25% of your working week at the very most, preferably under 10%. And we all know that unless you engage with the customers, unless you provide content, you create links, you provide funnels for them to come to, you're not going to get them. Build it and they will come does not work. It's a myth, the sort of thing that Rand Fishkin might believe in, but don't know. I think he thinks he's George Michael from 1988 anyway, doesn't he? That beard of his. Anyway, that is the link mesh powered node linking system. It's not my idea. It's been around for a while. It's an amalgamation of a couple of ideas, providing quality, using profiles rather than links, using Cocitation more strongly. Then none of those are new ideas, and I don't lay claim to any of them whatsoever. The way I do it may be only ever so slightly different from the way other people already do it as well. So I'm not saying any of it's mine, but I realise there's a lot of people out there now floundering, wondering how the hell do I progress. So going onwards, these tutorials will show you how that works, particularly with Ultimate Daemon, but you can absolutely use it with any AAA linking tool. You can do it by hand as well, of course, which you may want to do if you're just starting out in SEO. And my very strong belief is that if you do this properly, there will be no day when Penguin or whatever update Google has decides that your links are bad and deletes them or demotes your site. I believe this is a method that doesn't have a time limit on it. This will last because you're providing value for everybody every step of the way. And the only reason Google would dislike your first tier is if they just were spiteful and just didn't like your site. If visitors are arriving, they're enjoying it, they're staying a long time, they're clicking through the links you provide, they're reading the content well, that's exactly what Google want. They're not the internet police. You're giving them what they want, which is remarkably different or markedly different from what link trees, link pyramids and link rings did in the past. You can still use your trees and pyramid tools. They can still be adapted. You build slightly different structures and use them in a slightly different way, so they will still work absolutely fine in the way they did before, by the way. So I think Ultimate Daemon's got the link tree tool, and the linking diagram with SE Nuke can still be used. You just need to use them slightly differently, and they're so much more powerful. Believe me, I mean, it might take you 90 days to get a site up and running rather than 30, but the net result is awesome. And I know only 1% of you people that watch this are ever going to implement these things, but you 1%, I just know that some of you in a year's time will be coming back and telling me, you're well chuffed with the long-term results, because it is a fantastic way to proceed. My point of view, of course. SquittyDemonDemon.com, signing off.